So there's a helpful and a not so helpful way to look at competing. And I bet you, like most of us in society, are using this wrong way of looking at competing and understanding. And this is very much obviously a cultural thing. The way we frame competing is actually hurting a lot of players, and a lot of athletes. So I want to, in this video, explain the difference, reframe it so you can focus more on this helpful way and make the most out of your competitions. So if you don't know, I'm Cassie Preston, focus on the mental side of the game, helping athletes achieve great performance and well-being, and really doing that with both my background as a former athlete and as with all the academic research and my doctoral work and research out there. So I kind of bring both worlds together. And so if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to our video. So let's jump right into it. And I like to do some screen shares because it helps just break down ideas a little easier. So like I said, there's two main reasons. I'm going to show those and explain what they each are, why we do them, and how that affects our mindset and what we can do differently. So I'll just frame it up here like this. I'll type it right in. So two main reasons why we compete. So there's two main reasons to why we compete. Okay, and I want to highlight right off the bat, a lot of us love competing, right? And when you're an elite athlete, you generally love to compete. And the question is, but why? What is it about competing that's, that we enjoy so much? And the number two answer that I'm going to put over here, which is the most common one, but I'm going to say number two because we want it to be number two, is to beat other people. Okay, so we want to win. We want to judge, okay, who's better, judge and beat and be better than others. So beat, be better than others, and even ourselves sometimes. We're like, oh, am I better than myself? And you're constantly trying to be better than yourself. So it's a very outcome, achievement focus. And so this is, the research around this is a lot related to ego orientation. And so that's one. And it's very, like I said, very common. And we can all agree to that. Common sayings, there'd be something like, it's, winning's fun, losing sucks, right? Like that's like, oh, so I compete to win. And that's, if I don't win, it sucks. But the other line of thought, what I really want to dive in is, the main reason to compete is because of the challenge, right? The challenge that, you can embrace, okay? And embrace the challenge so that you can grow, you can learn, okay? And, you get to do this with other people by using other people as like a benchmark and learning opportunities, or even just by yourself. You can go and compete against yourself in your former things, but you're doing it so you can keep learning and growing, not necessarily that you get better all the time and always achieving, great outcomes. Now, so with self or others as well, obviously. So, and the point being that I want to make very clear off the bat, I'll make some lines here. You can want both. They're generally both. But the problem is, and make this very clear, we're usually way too focused here. And so then when you break this down, it's like, so what does this actually look like? What does our mindset and our performance look like when if you're constantly focused, all your attention's to, I compete because I want to beat others in this, and very little is like, oh, well, when I compete, it helps me learn and embrace challenges and I can grow both as an athlete and as a person. And the problem would be, what has happened to our mindset when we're over here? Well, we get high and low, right? Elated and deflated. Okay, elated, oh, this is so great, I won, and then deflated, I lost. Okay, success and failure, and so this up and down emotional side of things, and then guess what? That's often associated with inconsistent performance, inconsistency here. And this is, anybody can play great once, anybody can beat somebody once, but to be the best athletes in the world, guess what they're doing? They're focusing more over here, and that's what makes them more consistent. Okay, so this consistency factor is often, or the inconsistency factor is related to overly focusing on trying to be better than others. So it's kind of almost counterintuitive. And so, there's a really important way to kind of break that down on both the mindset and then therefore performance. And then let's flip it just to make it very clear what happens with our mindset over here. So mindset is going to be what? We're going to be more steady. We're more calm. We embrace mistakes and failures a lot easier, right? Because we see that, oh, those are helping us learn, okay? Embrace mistakes and adversity, okay? And then therefore, how do we perform? Well, we're learning and growing, and we're going to definitely perform better in the long term, okay? And we bounce back, we're more resilient, okay? We stay more composed, and even in the short term, you're going to get more consistency, okay? Because we're not getting so elated and deflated. So that's an overarching way to look at it, but I hope that makes sense and it's very easy to understand. Like this is, also great research on growth mindset versus fixed mindset. I'm good, I'm bad, fixed, judge. So what we're trying to do here, and I'm trying to get you to first understand, is that we want to grow this. We want to get back to this. Now, another way, and I'm going to just keep drawing some lines in here just to make distinctions in concepts, is this is very much intrinsic. Okay, these are intrinsic types of motivation. Okay, these are, and you might have heard this in some of my other videos, extrinsic, outside of us, right? So when you're showing up to a game or competition, you're on to compete, and the reason you want to do it is to be better than others, that's not really intrinsic, right? That is extrinsic. You're trying to compare yourselves to others or compare yourself to past performance. It's not in the moment, right? And true meaning comes from intrinsic things, which is learning, growing, contributing to a team, being a part of a team for sure. There's other reasons outside of this, but I'm just highlighting like these are more intrinsic. So again, these are more long lasting, more true, more long-term outcomes and benefits. All right. So let me give an example now of these. So let's go on this side first. Let's say intrinsically, we're going to go golf's a kind of a simple one. Someone was actually just talking with today, talked about they're missing their golf shots. Like they had a big fade, a big slice, right? Everybody can realize that. So what do they do every time they go play golf? Well, they line up for their, really big slice. And so it would work, right, to a degree. So that would be actually, let me frame this over here, get that right. So I got a slice in golf, and so I line up, and I don't try to fix the slice, right? I'm not trying to learn and grow, and I just play with the slice. And so you line up accordingly, and so you shoot okay, all right? Let's say you shoot 95, I don't know. That's what I shoot sometimes, okay? Okay, you shoot okay, you shoot 95. But you're not really learning and growing. And then maybe you kind of get better with it. And then like over a couple weeks, so like 2 weeks later, what do you get down to maybe a 93? But you're still limited because you're just going to be inconsistent. You're not actually swinging the right way and learning and growing. And you're just trying to make the most out of patching it up. Whereas player 2 over here goes, okay, they have the slice, but what are they going to do? They're going to focus on trying to correct it and learn and ask questions and do that even while they're playing, which, if you were looking at a pro golfer, they work on this on the range, not the course, but it's just to highlight a point. And the point is, they're lining up properly, okay, and trying to work on the right swing or a more effective swing. And so maybe they shoot worse. They shoot like 100, okay, because they're making more mistakes. But what obviously happens 2 weeks later, okay, they're learning and they're growing. Okay, and what do they end up doing? They shoot, the 90. So as an example. So long term, better outcomes. Short term, maybe not. But the other thing is, who's enjoying golf more? The person that's learning. Okay, and so it's getting back in touch with this intrinsic, this learning and growth, and having this mindset. And it can also help with their mindset overall, right? The fear of failure and all these other areas. So the last thing that there's a couple big other things I want to highlight. But one is anytime you feel like you're getting elated, deflated, and overly like getting fearful and all of these things, usually what does that mean? Too much focusing on this. Get reconnected to your why. Okay, reconnected to your, this intrinsic motivation and mindset. Now, another big way to look at this is using this before you actually compete, right? So think of it this way. I'm going to draw some nice fun lines here. What is the reason you're competing today? And if you're showing up and you're keep focusing on this stuff, you're going to keep getting these kind of results, right? Inconsistent, your mindset, it can throw you off. So again, I'm not saying to like completely get rid of this. It's like, oh, you can't want that at all. You can't want to be better than others. No, you can want it, but I just really focus on getting this up. Let's get connected with this. What do I want to learn and grow today? Even if it's a big competition, and understanding that you can learn and grow and not losing sight in this complete disconnect and everything's focused over here. It's just not going to be optimal for your mindset. And then be aware of it because our society is doing what? It keeps pushing us this way. Our coaches, our parents, the way, sports center, everything's about these things. Judging, competing, being better than others. And it feels good. It can become an addictive cycle of inconsistencies and highs and lows. But you're not going to get this consistency, this long-term, the right mindset, keeping things in check without first understanding what does it really mean to compete and what do we really want out of it? And this is the higher, more meaningful one. That's why I wrote it as number one reason. And this is actually the number two, if that makes sense. So it's not the most ironed out concept, but I think it is so important. That's why I want to make this video quickly today, to start getting you and other people out there understanding this concept, understanding and reflecting on why they're doing things. Get connected to your why, to your values. This is more related to intrinsic values, why you do things. This is extrinsic, right? There's nothing wrong with having extrinsic things in life, but they're based on often our intrinsic, right? Think of it, a good example is an elite hockey player, right? He's really motivated, or she's really motivated to shoot pucks and train and do these things because they love the game of hockey, and they want those outcomes in hockey, and they really want to play in the NHL, etc., or the Olympics. And then you take that same person and you go, okay, let's really work on your baseball, right? Like, you got to train, like, it's just not the same, because that's where their values lie. Do they really want to be in the MLB? Not nearly as much. It's not so meaningful to them. So the point being is, like, these values, extrinsic things, are coming from our intrinsic value of the sport and the learning and growth, and to do our best there. And it's just an easier way to look at it and measure it. But don't lose sight of your why and your values, and a way to look at it that way, and use this as a way to frame yourself in the right mindset, a healthy way, a more helpful way to look at competition and why you're competing. I'll help you play more consistently. All right. Love to hear what you think. I put your comments in the down below. Send in any questions. We have programs and stuff if you're interested. Love to help you consistently perform at your potential and improve your performance and well-being. Awesome. Thanks for signing in today, and we'll see you again soon.